another episode on the Young Women's Leadership Hub Education Plus Initiative podcast. I'm excited to be here, joined by amazing ladies from the Young Women's Leadership Hub, who I'm going to allow to introduce themselves shortly. But if you guys have been following so far, we've had a number of podcast series where we discuss different issues, and we're happy that this one is just us. Like, the conversation is down to us, and we're just going to be speaking our thoughts around HIV, SRHR, and just being a young lady in our current context, yeah? So my name is Ngosa Kulula. I am from Lusaka, Zambia, and I'm part of the Young Women's Leadership Hub under the Education Plus initiative. I will allow my ladies to introduce themselves as well. I will start with Akyra, to my right.
Hi, hello. Thank you, Ngosa. My name is Akyra Grace Gode. I'm from Mozambique. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I know both of you. So it's nice to share the space. I'm Munnira Africana Katongole. I'm from Johannesburg, South Africa. And interesting fact, we're currently here at Ikasa in Zimbabwe. So it's so nice to be able to shoot a podcast at the International Conference on AIDS and STIs.
Yeah, like, I can't imagine a better place to have this conversation,
A better time as
and I can't
well.
imagine better people either to have this
Aw.
conversation with. Yeah, so, we've known each other about a year now, thinking of working in the HIV response space. I know both of you have been doing, amazing work in your own contexts. But, being a young lady, being a young advocate, we've heard so much of the conversations, that take place in these spaces, these conferences. But I can't help but, imagine that it really comes down to me as an individual,
Right.
to the young girl out there. What happens? And of course, there are different factors. We cannot eliminate the different factors, that determine the decisions and the choices that young girls make when it comes to HIV, when it comes to SRHR, everything from economic hardships to cultural norms, that don't give them much of an option. But I can't help but think, how can we help build the agency of young girls? Like, every time I think of young me, could I do anything different? What can I tell, like, little me, adolescent me, just starting out, And I want to hear from both of you as well. So I'll start with Munnira. How can we build agency? When you think of yourself as a young girl, what would you want to hear? What would you want to be said to you to make you make bolder decisions when it comes to HIV, when it comes to SRHR?
Right. I really like the use of the word bold. I think it goes so nice with the agency. I think essentially how I'm getting this question is, how do I take the power into my hands to make decisions about my life? I will start off with my support system. I think myself and my health is intrinsically linked to my support system. So first of all, I'll come to the Education Plus initiative where I work. Our supervisor is obviously Gloria Nalule, and as an adolescent working in this space, I started at the age of 14, but formally working through UN agencies at 17. And Gloria was such an instrumental part of that process because she was a sister to me more than a supervisor, like somebody dictating how I should speak, somebody telling me what to say or what's the best way or the best approach to go about it, right? The best approach to go about anything in my life is the one that speaks to my truth and my desires and my needs. And Gloria really facilitated the space for that by allowing me to be myself, right? Education Plus feels like a second home. It's a safe space, not only for me as a worker, but as an adolescent who's facing some of these issues I'm advocating against, and also not censoring what I have to say, but really offering an advice or a space for me to see maybe maybe some gaps that I might miss, right? So I think a big part of agency is having a strong, open support system. And I think this links to our previous conversation on intergenerational dialogue. If you haven't watched that, please go check it out. And about how we should, as all people of different generations and of different levels of work, should facilitate a safe space for us to exist. I think that amplifies agency. But also, it's going to be a lot of personal work. I don't think we can tell people how to go about their personal work. You do you, and be affirmed of the fact that, like, if you're doing it for yourself, you're doing great. Like, if you're doing what you like to do, if you're looking after yourself, you're doing great. Like, there's sometimes ways I take up spaces, and I'm like, oh my god, Munnira, like, was that right? Were you being too much? Were you being too loud? Did you say something stupid? But then I have to go back and say, Munnira, you spoke your truth, and that is so amazing. Then I'll go to my best friend and be like, Kia, I said something and I did it in this way. Was that great or bad? And she'll be like, no, Munnira, you did great. Again, going back to my support systems to affirm me. But just know, part of your agency is just knowing that you're fabulous, you're stunning, you're everything. Affirm yourself, okay? I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you. When you speak of support system, I just can't imagine us getting anywhere without like a proper support system. We definitely, I like that's the saying, and I might not get it right exactly, but I stand on the shoulders of giants and those who've gone behind before us, and we've seen women who are role models that help us have something to look up to and look forward to, and say, if I make the right decisions, and if I can stand firm and be assertive about like choices that affect my health and my well-being, then I could be there, I could be like that person. But I also like how you're saying, like, just being true to yourself and affirming yourself also. And I think that goes a long way in terms of building assertiveness in young girls, because for the longest time adolescent girls are asked to be people pleasers, and that really affects how you also respond in relationship dynamics, and whether you're able to negotiate sex, whether you're able to walk away from an unsafe relationship, a violent relationship like that. How those little issues that we take for granted, they really tie into how girls are susceptible to HIV. And I just like how you framed it. And coming to you, Akyra, what would you say to a young girl out there, a young girl who's wondering, am I important? HIV seems like such a big topic. Our theme already at CASA is AIDS is not over. Oh my God, how long have we been talking about AIDS? What can I do? But also, what role can I play? I might feel so small. I'm just a girl after all, So what would you say to a young girl, an adolescent girl out there?
Okay. I want to say that no one is a mistake, okay? Regardless of the circumstance each person is in, no one is a mistake. And we have a purpose, we have a mission. We are so important and special. It doesn't depend on social status, academic level. It doesn't depend on the assets we have. Okay, where we were born, where we live, we really have a value. And the question is, who am I? Who are you? Okay, we have an identity, our true identity, and we can all make a difference, with or without the things we want, with or without the money we want. We can be light, we can add something to someone's life, we can change someone's life. Okay, we can make a difference, Ngosa. Thank you.
No, we definitely can, and that's really powerful. And I like that in this conversation we're really bringing down to giving girls back their power.
Right.
For a long time, society has had to determine who girls have to be, what they have to do, where they have to be, when they have to be there, when they have to get married, like so many things, like everyone but yourself can determine who you are.
Right.
And that's really affected girls when it comes to them being able to make decisions about themselves, them being able to embrace their self-worth, and say, what, I'm good, regardless whether this person stands with me or not, I'm good. But also, like you said, girls also knowing that they can make a difference, that they can be leaders in their own right, and regardless, it might look different, it doesn't always look the same, it doesn't always sound the same, we don't have to look a certain way, we don't have to dress a certain way for us to embrace that power that we have to make decisions about ourselves. And I hope we can just relay this information to young girls out there, all the confidence that you guys have, if we can just channel it to young girls in our communities. And I think that's what I love about the Education Plus initiative, how we're talking about the completion of secondary education as a strategic entry point. Because when I reflect on my own journey, I think it was through the education system that I was able to have mentorship. I went to a girls' school and I could see, other older girls who were confident and who were just standing in their worth and doing amazing things, and they would always come back after completing school, in terms of mentorship programs, in terms of career guidance, and it made me dream big. It made me dream bigger than my current context, and that's what a lot of girls need. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this conversation is so wholesome. A little part of me is getting so emotional because I really two things. I feel like I am the woman, like 13-year-old me would be so proud of 20-year-old me right now, and I also feel like you guys are the women that like just support me in realizing my dreams, so I hope that everybody has that for themselves. I hope you have people that have your back. But I think something I really wanted to emphasize on, and I think an actionable point we can take up from this podcast is mentor someone. Like my mentor, I have a few. I have a mentor younger than me. I have a mentor older than me. My mom I consider to be a mentor. And then I have a mentor who helps me with career and guidance. It's like basically a person who offers you services and things that other people would charge you for, creates that kind of accessibility and can offer you skills and expertise in hindsight. So I hope you can offer to mentor somebody. I'm currently mentoring somebody. I'm also being mentored, and I think that has been an important hand holding that I can't see myself exist without. And also I just want to say that having people who are informed around you is so important, because sometimes there were gaps in the education system. And for example, when I was exposed to an unsafe sex experience, unconsensual sex, I didn't know to take PEP, right? But because I had a mentor that I could reach out to, that was safe to me, that was informed within the context and space that I work, she was able to say, hey Munnira, I'm really sorry about your experience, I'm here to help you, but also it's important that you access PEP, for example. So I think we also need to emphasize the fact that education also exists beyond schools, and healthy relationship and support systems need to work in tandem with education and schools to really realize a space where young people are informed, can make safe, healthy choices, and just be empowered and be agents of their own future.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm all for women supporting women, and there's a mantra I love. I'm all about mantras and sayings. Lift while you climb. You don't have to be. I think like Akyra said, you don't have to get to a certain point before you can lift somebody, carry on somebody, mentor a young girl. I think that's what it's all about, and I think the women's movement has really shaped how far we've come. Like women looking out for each other, and so when they say let communities lead, I can't just help but think of the communities that women have, from women at church, women in the marketplace, to women at kitchen tables, women, ushering each other into marriage, but also just, young friendships of young girls between each other, giggling about crushes and everything in between. Like women are such a community, and a very vital one in the response when it comes to HIV and AIDS. And I'm so grateful that we have the Young Women's Leadership Hub, where we have, this community of support, but also a community of young people who inspire us to keep pushing when it comes to advocacy on HIV and AIDS and SRI, HR. And we know our contexts are not always so easy to navigate, but we always know that we have a space where we can go back and draw inspiration from, draw confidence from, and just get back up and go ahead and advocate more. And I'm just grateful for these spaces. And so I would just take it round one more time to just hear, who's the one woman that inspires you? Just in a few words, who inspires you and why she inspires you. So I'll start with Akyra. So Akyra, who inspires you? And just for context, Akyra is from Mozambique and a fluent Portuguese speaker. So we're going to switch it up a little bit and hear from her in Portuguese. Who inspires you? Who do you look up to?
A pessoa que eu olho, que eu poderia ser como ela. Na verdade, não posso chegar à perfeição, a ser como esta pessoa é, mas é possível que esta mesma pessoa me torne imitadora desta pessoa. Eu estou a falar de Jesus Cristo. Em momento algum posso chegar, posso ser como Jesus é, mas eu posso ser imitadora dele. Ele pode me tornar a minha melhor versão. E sendo a minha melhor versão em Cristo, eu posso fazer a diferença. Eu posso ser um instrumento de transformação no mundo. Então, eu acredito que cada um de nós pode ser um instrumento de transformação no mundo com Jesus. Porque com Jesus, nós olhamos as pessoas não com os nossos olhos, mas com os olhos dele. Com Jesus nós olhamos as pessoas não segundo as circunstâncias em que elas estão, mas nós olhamos para elas como pessoas que podem passar por um processo de transformação. Então existe esse poder em Deus, existe esse poder em Jesus, que é nós mesmos sermos transformados e sermos um instrumento de transformação para as outras pessoas. Então, quem eu olho, quem pode ser uma inspiração, é, na verdade, uma inspiração para o mundo, para várias pessoas. Quem tem o poder de mudar, transformar, curar feridas e várias outras coisas. Quem tem o poder de transformar vidas é Jesus Cristo. Thank you.
I cannot wait to hear the translation on that, but I've
That
never
was
wanted to
so
hear language more.
passionate.
Thank you so much, Akyra.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a bit cliche, but I'm gonna say my mom. And I choose my mom not because she's agreeable. Like, my mom and I have different perspectives. My mom is a conservative. She considers herself to be, and I'm a liberal. So we're constantly clashing heads, but we meet at the center point that we love each other, and as women intergenerationally, we want what's best for each other, and we work from that space, right? But she is my role model, again, not because we're agreeable, but because of our commitment to work together, to foster healthy relationships, a safe space for me when I have issues with health and risk, right? My mom had very conservative views about HIV and the use of condoms, and we were able to create that open space and to communicate. And she's such a support, like a strong support system for me as I navigate my health as it relates to SRHR and protecting myself from HIV and working in the HIV space. And equally, I've played the role of educating her, expanding her, and she can also implement such informational knowledge or be a support structure to others in our community, whatever spaces she occupies. So definitely my mama, more as like an example to say, even if we don't have the same views, and you come from different backgrounds, as Akyra said, we can still really work concretely to support each other and achieve a common objective.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be a my mom. But yeah, I'm gonna go with my grandma because I believe she's such a strong woman, you know. Especially for a woman who didn't have access to education herself, to be able to see the value in education for my mom, who was later able to, you know, push me into school and make sure that I pursued quality education. I think I always look back at my grandma, because if she didn't make the choices that she made, my mom wouldn't have the opportunities that she had to be able to pave way for me to be where I am. And also looking at my grandma's context, she had to get married very early, very different context. But she never once, even today, she tells me, you know, take your time, my girl, you know, there's no rush, you know. Like, she's such a fresh, you know, like breath of fresh air, when, you know, so many times others will push you to be a certain way or do things, you know, in a certain way with a certain time frame. But she says, you know, do you, you're a beautiful girl, you're an amazing girl, you're an intelligent girl, and, you know, you can do so much more without conforming to what society expects from you. So I think my grandmother, for sure, despite her own challenges, despite her own story, she created a different story for the rest of us, and I love her for that. Yeah. Okay, so I think this has been such a wholesome conversation. Thank you so much, Akyra, for sharing how, you know, we all are special in our own way and we all have the power to make a difference. And Munnira, for just sharing how support systems have been very pivotal in, you know, your life and your journey, and how your mom has also been like an amazing pillar of strength. We definitely need that community. Shout out to Mom, you know. And yeah, I'm definitely grateful for the community we have in the Young Women's Leadership Hub. We definitely don't have everyone on this panel, but we do have Doreen, we have Rejoice, we have Chloe, we have who am I missing out? It's Jenny, Anita, so many amazing young people, young women that we're able to draw from, and who are also pushing the agenda towards, you know, getting to zero, infections, new infections in young girls across sub-Saharan Africa with the Education Plus initiative. So I'm just grateful to have had this conversation with you all, and I think we'll end it here. Please do listen in to the other episodes that we had on this podcast series with the Education Plus initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.